Welcome, everybody. So I'm Leanne Shinton from Automation Dogs, rebranded from the name Pet Biz Experts. And I just love doing this podcast and speaking with amazing trainers who have made such amazing impact. So today, without further ado, we have Justin Rigney joining us. Welcome, Justin.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. When did you change the name?
I changed the name. It's been a work in progress. I found that pet biz is commonly used for pet biz insurance and things like that. So it was quite a busy space SEO wise. And then I had a couple people start using the name and doing what we do. So
Gotcha.
I was like, yeah, it's cool. We'll just change the name. It's a big job. So yeah, work in progress.
I know, like whatever the saying is, like mimicry is flattery. I don't even know if I'm probably butchering that shit. But what really pisses me off, man, is like people can't come up with their own original shit. They got to bite off somebody's, something skills or something they've built and try to spin on it and bite off. Like that makes me insane, man. I can't stand that shit.
It really ate me up and, bugged me at first, but ended up, I reached out to the lady who had our name and, it's cool. We're buddies. I had a couple people come over to me thinking I was her. A couple
Yeah.
people go to her. And so now we just kind of work together. Like, guess what? I have another one and it's cool. So I did, look into like legal actions, but it's just not worth it. It's like
No.
$100,000 to try and fight for some name. I can just change my name and
Yeah.
it's all good. So you and I have talked about names before and I, I think having something unique is really advantageous so that people don't confuse you with
Yep.
another dog trainer. I think like Rigney dog training, something like that. That space SEO wise, you're it. Like if you search Justin Rigney or anything Rigney dog training, like you're going to be found. So yeah, it's a wild world changing names. And also I found out too, cause I've had a few dog training companies and always been able to get the .com, but nowadays it's like squatters are sitting on the .com.
Yep.
So if you do have a name, I think you did purchase justinrigney.com.
I had a friend of mine grab it for me many, many years ago before I retired, which I think we're going to talk about. But yeah, I'm glad she did. So
Yeah.
there's other things too. Sidebar, we'll talk about. Like there's a couple classes, the names that I have. I'd like to trademark those and copyright them or whatever the proper language is to kind of protect that too. But it's a whole nother conversation. So.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for asking about that because it's, my business is my baby. It's near and dear to me and it's a big change, but I'm a glass half full person. So I'm like, we'll figure this out. It's cool. I'm not going to lose sleep over it and try to be positive. So, so I really would love to talk about, your journey and, having been able to meet you at Starbucks and the drama of you on a little bit on Facebook, but also walking into that Starbucks with like your Dunkin' Donuts sandwich. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this, it's a wild ride there. So
Yeah, rules are
yeah.
meant to be broken. So.
So yeah, I think it would be wonderful just to kind of hear about like how you got into law enforcement and then how you shifted and got into dog training. And it's amazing what you're doing, helping people with their dogs, their pet dogs. But I see a lot of you're helping other officers too.
For sure. So it's a little bit of a reverse kind of story. A lot of cops get into law enforcement for whatever reason, and then they see the dogs working, or maybe they're working tracks, and they kind of see that adrenaline dump that the handlers have, and they want to get into it. I'm a little bit different story. Is that I started in professional dog training first, and
Oh.
then dogs brought me into law enforcement. So dogs were always an obsession as a kid, and my interest in dogs isn't like this, like Disney huggy kissy story. Like I grew up in dysfunction and violence and substance abuse. And, my indoctrination to violence started in utero. My old man had punted my mom down the stairs when she was pregnant with me, kind of shit. And just a typical alcoholic, dysfunctional upbringing. And, for me, when I was a kid, people were dangerous and had ulterior motives and were manipulative, and animals were speaking my love language as a kid. And actually, my first love was horses, where I did a little bit of riding as a kid, and just was fascinated by it, and it became transitioned to dogs probably in my teens, just a really huge interest and obsession. Well, I didn't really get a formal introduction to training until I was about 18 or 19, where I just had a roommate. I was playing baseball in college, Florida State University, and he had done some really cool shit with his Rottweilers, doing tricks and stuff like that. And I was just kind of blown away. So I always had this like massive interest and obsession. We had dogs growing up as a kid. And one German Shepherd in particular was like, I was connected to, and loved the dog dearly. But really seeing now with dogs, what they could do and to perform and things that they could learn was really like an eye-opening experience. And then I just always had it in my mind that I wanted to have an interest in learning and finding out about police dogs. So, that early exposure when I was 18 really piqued an interest. Played baseball in college for a couple of years, actually played professionally for a year and a half, 2 years. There was always a void in my heart, in my life, traveling, playing baseball. I could never have a dog. So I was in the Atlanta Braves organization and got released. It's the only job I've ever been fired from today. So the very first thing I did when I moved back to Connecticut, I was in Florida in the minor leagues, and when I moved back to Connecticut, where I'm originally from, was look up, just by accident, found a professional dog trainer named Dogs Unlimited, which my current business is Canine Services Unlimited, kind of paying homage to that very first experience. And the guy that owns that business is a guy named Chris Byrne, who's a dear, dear friend of mine today. I'm actually teaching a class at his place in Goshen, Connecticut in a couple of weeks. That business is now called Stonehill Kennels. But, just coming full circle, that is amazing. So in Connecticut in the 90s, I had a lot of exposure. My very first job in dogs was running a guard dog service. Like before I even learned how to train, before I learned anything, was running a guard dog service. Like Chris threw me into the ocean, and I swam and it didn't sink. So got some exposure and some experience working some aggressive dogs, like some pretty crazy dogs back in the day. And Chris taught me everything. He taught me puppy training, obedience, bite work, detection, kennel management, like how to speak to clients. Like he gave me the full experience, and it was literally just an exchange for labor. Like it was a true internship. I worked off my education, and Chris opened his mind, his heart, his business, his family to me like he'd known me his entire life. And I always have this intrinsic pay it forward kind of mindset, but he really like ignited that interest in my heart to always pay it forward, because that's what he did for me. And in that relationship with Chris, he introduced me to a lot of talented trainers in the Connecticut area. So back in the 90s, the New England region was a powerhouse in Schutzen, IGP, IPO, whatever they're calling it these days. Mm-hmm. And that was another mind-blowing experience, man. To see those dogs work in drive with that level of proficiency was mind-blowing. And, being a little bit of an athlete back then, getting released and, playing pro ball, missing the camaraderie of professional sports and the athleticism, for me, it was a natural progression to love decoying. I just loved the athleticism of it. I loved the mindset. I loved the interaction with the animal, and really like the sparring match you're having with the dog. So a couple of key people were in that club. And one person in particular was a dog sport competitor in IGP, but he was also a cop and ran a canine training organization called the Connecticut Police Work Dog Association. So he was the training director of the Schutzen Club. He was also the training director of the Police Dog Club, where multiple agencies get together. And it's actually still in existence today. Again, we're talking about the 90s. And he saw me working in the sleeve, and I actually got a lot of background noise. There's an echo on my side. I don't know if you can hear it.
I think we're okay. It's showing we're okay.
Okay.
Maybe let me see if there's echo cancellation. I can also fix the audio later. But I do have like yeah, it sounds fine on my end.
Okay.
If we wanted, it looks like there's an echo cancellation, but I'd have to stop recording, and then I can adjust it. But Yeah, what do you think?
We'll keep going.
Okay. Okay.
So that gentleman was named Bill Scribner, and we're still connected on social media today. It's been years since I've seen Bill, but anyway, he saw me working dogs in the Schutzen Club. He said, "Hey, man, meet me out here." Gave me an address on a Wednesday night, which is typically canine training night. Threw me in the suit, started getting beaten up by police dogs, and I was just absolutely hooked. It was love at first bite, and the camaraderie of the cops and hearing the war stories, like the pursuits, the bailouts, the dog bites, the fights. And I'm like, I can hunt people with my dog. Like, sign me up, right? Um, so I started applying for police jobs in Connecticut. So this is when I was about 27 or 28, a little bit late in the game to make that choice. And I've been doing professional dog training since I left baseball, and I had a lot of experience there. And then what was happening in Connecticut, there was like 300 applicants going for one or two jobs. Like it was no movement. It was really weird situation. So there's a gentleman named Phil Holscher, and folks, if they're in the Schutzen world, he's like the OG. He's one of the main forefathers of bringing Schutzen to this country, and he's still around doing it, man. Very talented dude. He would come up to Connecticut to the IGP club a couple times a year and do seminars. And he's like, "Hey, man, you ever want to come to South Florida?" Because that's where he was from, Miami. He's like, "I got a spot." So things were kind of drying up in Connecticut, man. I was ready for a change, and being in college in Florida, like I was ready to go back, especially during the winters. So Phil opened some doors for me. He got me a place to live with. There was a girl in the club that gave me a room to rent. She let me set up kennels in her barn. Phil fed me training jobs, protection work, obedience, and it was just an open door. So long story short, I went down to Florida, and this is in late in 2000. So I was applying for jobs there. It was the opposite of what I experienced in Connecticut. They couldn't find enough people, right? So there's a mass exodus for the cops that had come on during Vietnam, after Vietnam, which some of those guys were my FTOs, which is an amazing experience to have that caliber of human being. But long story short, I applied for about five or six agencies, and I had my choice, which was a Davie Police Department. And I had just gone out and started working dogs with them because, again, just how God works and connects humans. Is that one of the club members in the South Florida Schutzen Club down in Miami was the vice mayor or number two guy in the town of Davie, which is right outside Fort Lauderdale. A guy named Marlon Lewis, still a buddy of mine today. So I told my aspirations, like, "Hey, man, come out to Davie's Canine Training Night." So again, just the same deal, man. I had that one door opened, which is very difficult for a civilian to kind of break into that law enforcement community. But the fact that I was applying for different agencies kind of helped. And so I started catching dogs and helping out with training before I got hired. So I got hired by Davie, got into canine pretty quickly, off probation. And the dog that I used was a Malinois from my own breeding program. So I established a breeding program of Mals. There's a dog named Vader. So I saw him take his very first breath in life on my living room floor. Fast forward to tape 12 years later, I held him when he took his last breath. And in between those breaths, he was just an incredible animal. And just to have that front row seat to be able to watch the dog evolve from puppy to a very strong police dog was absolutely amazing. I left Davie Police Department, went up to Palm Beach County in West Palm Beach, Florida, where I spent about 12 years there and worked two different dogs. So I had about 10 years total in canine, worked three dogs, and saw some really, really wild things in law enforcement and life. It wasn't uncommon back then for a lot of handlers in South Florida to retire their dogs with well over 100 police dog bites, like on the street. Like it doesn't happen like that anymore. The climate's changed, but that experience was unbelievable to have. And between the three dogs, I think I had probably 80 something bites, and all of them were their own different scenario, their own different deal. And it's like going into those moments where people want to hurt you and kill you, and you're trusting your dog in the dark. And it's, for me, there's no better juice for me. It was amazing, especially when you could see the behavior change in your dog when you're close. Like, complete addiction to that. Like, it was a job that I would have absolutely done for free. I went in early, I stayed late. I would, a lot of times they'd break a call down. We're looking for a bad guy. They'd say, "Everybody go back in service." I'd be like, "All right, I'm cool. I'm back in my car." I'd get the dog back out, go hide in the bushes, and wait for this fucker to pop out, like, for hours. Like, I was more addicted to the streets than the bad guys were, but just on the good guy side. So, I got to see some incredible things, some wild things. I was involved in a shooting with my last dog. The guy tried to kill me with a knife, charged me with a big old 14-inch knife. I had my dog in one hand, gun in the other, discharged 8 rounds right over the dog's head. Guy dropped the knife. I still didn't know if I hit him or what happened. He's flopping around on the ground. I knew he separated from the knife. Long story short, I deployed the dog, and he ended up biting him. And it's a very tragic call. There's a lot of moving parts to it. But aside from the police side of it, aside from the tragic loss of life, from the dog behavior side of things, it was an incredible moment to watch that dog perform in that capacity, because he was another dog that I had from a puppy. Which a lot of times, handlers get into law enforcement. They get a dog that's 14, 16 months, 2 years old. But I've had two opportunities. One, I saw us take his first breath, and Zeke, my last dog that I was involved with the shooting, I was involved with his life from 10 weeks on. My friends had bought him and imported him from Germany. I helped him with the puppy training. Then ended up buying him when he was about 7 months old, and then raising him, continuing down that path, and then getting him on the street. Again, for a dog geek, it's like one of my greatest accomplishments. I'm very proud of. So, in between all that long, boring story, I'm continuing to be an absolute perpetual student. I'm learning everything I can about dog training, like absolutely obsessed. Like my wife would tell you, it's an illness. Like it's not like, oh, I'm really interested in this shit. It's like you live it, you eat it, you sleep and breathe. It's like a sickness, right? An absolute obsession. And I think it takes that kind of mindset, and you can't fake it. Like no one can tell you to do that. It's got to be intrinsic. I talked about having that early exposure to dysfunction and addiction. Well, I absolutely have an addictive personality. I've just been able to channel it to some productive things. Like I've never had a sip of alcohol in my life, and because I knew that shit was down, going down a bad path. But like being in the gym and dogs and stuff, like I can get down on shit like a meth head. Like I can get super like fixated on things and not come up for air for years. So I got in front of some very talented people. I've traveled some amazing places, and again, still today, like I teach coast to coast, whether it's pet dog folks, sport people, law enforcement, military. I teach coast to coast, and although I'm very fortunate to be able to teach, I'm still a student of this game. So for me, it's an infinite learning curve, and I've never ever stopped that. I never will. It's my longest running addiction for sure.
Quite a dynamic life that you've had just so far, moving around from Atlanta Braves, Connecticut, down to Florida.
Yep.
Where did you meet your wife, and how did that all go? Were you, because you guys have moved from Florida to Tennessee?
We did, yeah, yeah. So, my wife's actually my second marriage. First marriage, I have two daughters. One's 21, one's 18. They still live down in South Florida. But I met my wife actually on Plenty of Fish, online dating. She's a 25-year veteran cop as well with the Hollywood Police Department, and she's my hero. She's my person, and she's just an amazing human being, and had a stellar career as well. She worked 10 years in undercover narcotics. She was on the coattails of the cocaine cowboy era down in South Florida, and saw some wild, wild shit in narcotics working undercover. And she was in the detective bureau. She was a training officer as well. So she just really had a stellar career. She retired before I did. And I'll spare the gory, boring details, but I did retire early. It was my time to leave law enforcement. It wasn't really on my terms, but it was my time to go. And even before we met, my wife had come up to Knoxville and bought a French bulldog puppy before we met. And it was in the fall. So my wife, she grew up in South Florida, melting her entire life. So she came up here in the fall and saw these trees and the cool air. She's like, I'm retiring here. So my wife puts her crosshairs on something, it happens for sure. So we decided to leave South Florida, for me to leave law enforcement. And I was always training pet dogs. Like this entire long babble that I've had, I've always been training pet dogs. So I would work 50, 60 hours a week as a cop, doing patrol dog schools as a trainer, working the road with my dog. And then I'd have 4 or 5 dogs in for training at home. So my wife would take care of them when I was working. I don't sleep much at all, but I would get up and train and go to work at night. So still doing that the whole time. And my wife's, my biggest fan and my biggest support system. So We came up to Knoxville about 7.5 years ago. And for me, like back in the day, like I had really no clue what social media was. Like I had a Facebook page and I would just slap a video up here and there just cause like I never really understood any of it. I don't really understand it still today with these algorithms and all the shit that goes on. But when I left South Florida, like just to back up a little bit, my agency had about 4,000 employees. So cops have big mouths, right? If they like what you do, word spreads like wildfire. I never had to advertise once. I never invested anything in it. I always had a massive waiting list. It's the flip side too. If they don't like what you do, everybody knows that shit too. So fortunately enough, I made sense of some dogs and some people, and that spread pretty well. But coming up into Knoxville in a market where nobody knew me, I had to figure this shit out. Like I had to find folks that did Google AdWords. I had to figure out how to edit a video. I had to figure out how to post and what is this algorithm shit? Like what's a hashtag? Like complete mystery. So I started listening to Gary Vaynerchuk. I can't read for shit, but I got his audiobook and just started to try to apply some of those things. And it's absolute trial and error, and it was really, I did some teaching on a national scale when I was still a cop. It was pretty limited what I could do. But once I hit the ground running on my retirement, I really had the opportunity to start teaching a lot. And I just started putting up my phone and recording some of my babble and figuring out how to make a reel out of that and place that out there to the masses, out to the universe. And some folks like it and some folks don't. I'm the first person to say I'm not for everybody. If you come on my posts and do dumb shit, you'll be blocked instantaneously, and that's that's morphed into its own existence. So, which was my wife's idea, and some other folks had a hand in that whole thing. And but it's wild coming full scale. And I could probably spend hours and hours crying on your shoulder, which the story, but to your listeners, like I have been through the absolute ringer with bullshit, with marketing, Google AdWords, and part of the reason I left law enforcement is I had to sue my agency. And again, that's a long ass boring story. But part of what I had to do is blast them on social media. And actually today, Jeffrey Epstein's another big topic, but it was my agency that housed Jeffrey Epstein and treated him like a king. So I was blasting off on that shit on my lawsuit. But what little did I know, the connection to Zuckerberg and Epstein and the whole thing. So I got shadow banned, right? So I got shadow banned on Facebook and my content dropped drastically. And then I got on Instagram later. So anyway, I'm babbling, but the long story short is I've been through some shit when it comes to marketing, and I'm in a very, very good space, and you are a huge part of that right now. And I'm keeping my mouth shut on some things, but I'm like fucking furious about the way some of my shit's been handled by Google marketing companies and the way they've been fucking other people. Like it really pisses me off. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I get it. Our businesses are our babies. And,
Yeah.
just like you spoke about the dog and he took his first breath, he took his last breath. And I think, for somebody, I'm a lot like you in the way that you work hard and you're addicted to your work. I think that sometimes we use our work to maybe avoid some things, um, just go all in on work for whatever reason, just really make it super ambitious and just make it something so unique and amazing. I totally get that. Don't know how to explain it, but what you said about an addictive personality and going all in with your work, and then your work is your baby, it's your puppy. So if somebody tries to hurt it, then you're going to get upset about it. Just like someone trying to take my name, and it's
Yeah.
growing pains. We all have to live and learn, but it's
The folks that come across this, like I won't name names. Like again, I'm not that I give a shit about litigation, but it's I would just caution people if you're using some of the popular, well-known Google marketing companies that are out there, they are cutting and pasting your website and utilizing that shit across the board. So like what happened with me is that somebody would click on my board and train programs and it would go to another dog training company. And I had a number, my number that was showing up on Google was a disconnected bullshit fake number. and I'm horrible. Like you probably bang your head against your screen when you talk to me. Like I'm okay. I'm okay with a leash. I'm okay with the dog in my hand, but this tech shit makes me nuts. And like I didn't catch it, and a buddy of mine actually caught it. He showed it to me, and it fucking infuriated me. And since that conversation, since I fired that company, like the amount of DMs I've gotten from people like that knew I was with that company asking for information, the same thing is happening to them. Like they're cutting and pasting their website and they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about your loss. So I would just caution people, if you're utilizing these companies, go through your website line by line by line, which I don't have fucking time to do. And that's how I didn't catch it, because they are screwing you. And I just had a guy, a DM come through from somebody in Buffalo, New York, which we get dogs from all over the place, but they were trying to reach another company that was with that same people that I used to use. It's the same shit that happened. They clicked their board and train and it went to my email. So I would caution people, go through your shit with a fine tooth comb, because so many people are getting fucked by these companies.
It is true that I think you said something to me about you're cursed when it comes to technology, and I tried to help you to log into an app, and luckily
Yep.
Rebecca was there, and but yeah, I totally see that. But what's really interesting is that you can put your own face on somebody else's body using AI. Like how do we have this problem, and yet you can do something that like 90% of the world cannot do?
No, it's an app that's so stupid easy. Like a kindergartner could do that. Like I'm a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, but I'm glad you saw it. Like I'm an absolute tech jinx. E-collars, not so much. But we have an electric gate on my driveway, right? I'll have the clicker in my hand and I'll hit the button 30 fucking times. Bing, it won't open, won't open. My wife will snatch it from my hand. Bing, once, opens. Like I am a fucking jinx with all this shit. And you saw it. Like
Yeah, as
just
soon
so
as
you,
you touch the computer, it stopped working.
yeah, no. So like it's like, just so your folks know, we're in Starbucks trying to get onboarded with your CRM stuff, and like the simplest thing's not working. I'm like, let me step away from the computer about 15 feet, and then it works. Like there's some EMFs going through my fucking brain, and like I don't know. So
It still just fascinates me, like how much you post. I mean, so many of us, it's like we can't think of content. Like, how do you come up with this stuff? How did it start with Facebook, and then you're addicted to it, and you're creating such amazing content?
um, it's it's kind of interesting too. Like I think it's the same mindset of, it's almost like a hunting behavior. Like why I was addicted to the working as a cop and hunting these bad guys, because like the obsession of the chase and the pursuit and the hunt. Like for me, it's always trying to find like new inspiring content. Like I have so much shit locked in my brain. Like I literally probably have 100 hours of content sitting on my phone going back years that I haven't even touched on yet. Like a lot of it's me babbling in seminars, but like I'll film so much shit and forget about it. And I don't know, like it's just part of my brain that kind of functions that way. Like my brother, who's a little bit older than me, I'm biased because he's my brother, but he's one of the most brilliant artists I've ever seen. Like I remember being like a baby doing like a pull up on his little desk, and he could draw Spider-Man better than DC Comics could. Like we just kind of have that little part of our brains where I think it's a creative side, which I don't have. Like I can't build a sandwich. Like I can't build shit. Like mechanics, construction, I cannot build anything. But my mind's eye is always going about, and it's not like I consciously say, oh, I got to sit down and think about content. It just comes to me. I don't know. And again, it's not for everybody. Trust me, I block a lot of people because I trigger a lot of people. But I don't know. It's not something that's calculated. It just kind of comes to me. So
Yeah, it's quite interesting because you've definitely done something groundbreaking that most people can't, you know, break into, to be so popular, on Facebook. Is it just Facebook, or are you doing Instagram?
no, I'm banned. I'm banned. Like I'm shadow banned on Facebook. People
Okay.
say that doesn't exist. It's bullshit. Like I hired a virtual assistant, and she's got access to our business Facebook. And within like a month, I went from like 11,000 followers on Facebook up to like, I think she's got it to like 35, 36,000 now, because it's coming from a different source. Like, I would, before this whole Epstein, me blasting my agency and posting nonstop about political shit, I would put up a stupid puppy clicker video, get thousands of views, shit tons of likes, comments. And then when I started doing that political shit, in the shitter, and you could see it. So Instagram, I wasn't on. I've probably been on Instagram a few years, and knock on wood, thank goodness, like I haven't been fucked there as bad. So that's where I do most of my work. Like I seem to connect a little better on Instagram. TikTok, I had a couple viral videos. Like I think on Instagram, I have two pages on Instagram. They're both at about 31,000 followers, but TikTok I got on really late in the game. If I've been on TikTok a year and a half, that's up to like 50,000 because I had a couple like viral videos. Like each one's their own little like monster. It's a weird kind of deal. Like TikTok's a weird spot. Like the most triggered, unhinged people live on TikTok.
That's
It's
funny.
fucking it's really fucking wild. So a lot of my block content comes from the TikTok triggering. So,
That's
um,
funny.
but feeding that social machine, like social media is a jealous bitch, and she wants to be fed. She wants attention all day long. So, coming up with really like organic, authentic posts 3 or 4 times a day, like, it's a full time fucking job, and it's
Yeah.
exhausting. Like, and part of what Gary Vee talked about was Gary Vaynerchuk. If people aren't familiar with Gary Vee, he's like resharing viral content. So the good thing about Facebook is that every day there's memories that pop up, and you can rip that and download that of videos that have done very well. So when I'm on the road traveling and I don't have time to kind of generate content like that, those memories come in very handy to repost. And of course, the VA that I've got, she's doing an amazing job rebranding that stuff, polishing it up, and re-editing it and make it kind of flashy. And it's a full-time job for all of it, man. And what I'm trying to do is, I've been very blessed and fortunate to travel like nonstop for the last 7+ years, is kind of really slow the roll down a little bit. It's my goal, but I keep I keep getting calls, and I keep raising my prices, and folks keep saying yes. So I do love the travel. I do love seeing the country. I've been in other countries teaching, and just seeing really cool people and amazing dogs, and the beauty of this country. And you're a traveler,
Yeah.
it's an absolute blessing, but it is taxing as well, and it's hard being away from the business. And so my goal is to travel less, to take again and again. With all this shit, I still have my hands on a lot of dogs. So my goal is to delegate the dogs out to some of my trainers, and work on the business instead of in the business a little bit more. And you've been an absolute godsend with your CRM and your program and everything you do. I don't even know shit about it. Like, so that's part of my goal too. Is like, when I get back, I have some traveling to do coming up, is to really get all hands on deck. So I have dogs that go home to Florida tomorrow, actually. So I bring them home, do the go home lessons, and then I'm home for a couple days and off to Ohio for 2 classes. So I should be back.
So we're back. It's Justin's curse. So
Tech, Tech James striked again.
technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I did want to ask something about more about like your social. I think that's very fascinating and interesting because, first off, most people don't have time or make time to put effort into their social. Yours definitely has taken off. So it's, you'd brought up to me once before about, because we have a social planner, and with ours you could just integrate all your socials so it can post on your TikTok and your Facebook and your Instagram, like with boom boom, and it posts on all of them at once. And you'd ask me to check if that would be conflicting and affect the algorithms and stuff. And so it made me nervous. I'm like, I don't want to mess up his content. But those are definitely things that you have to be watching and be careful of. And I know one thing that I like about our social planner, when you mentioned like those memories are great because it gives you kind of a bit of a break because you can use that old content. I don't know if Meta does it, but I know our platform does, where you can set a post as reoccurring. So for like July 4th that just happened, you could create a post and then reoccurring next July 4th. So it just saves you a little bit. So every year, your July 4th post, your Christmas post, like all of those are kind of taken care of for you. And if you have something that's like really good content, setting it maybe to a reoccurring every year might be something that would help give you a break.
Yeah, it would be, but the shitty thing with me is like my mind doesn't work like that. Like
Yeah.
I'll make a post while I'm sitting at a red light. Like something will come to mind and I'm editing that shit, or I'll be on the treadmill. Like I actually, a lot of my creativity comes to me when I'm doing cardio. Like I do steady state treadmill on an incline or whatever, slow, and I do it about 45 minutes, and that's where my creative juices start kind of flowing there. And while I'm driving too, which is shitty. So for whatever reason, that kind of in motionness for me, like that's where my lot of my thought processes come from. So, but that would be very helpful, man, to be able to like time videos. Like I just don't. My brain does not think like that, and I wish I did. And maybe this is one of the things I can adopt. Like I know my weaknesses, and then there's many. I know my faults, and I know my strengths. Like my awareness is pretty acute of what I can and can't do. And we've had our conversations and group calls and shit like that. I'm very, very transparent about who I am and what I do. But um, the social deal is like it's a weird kind of life form of its own, that it's always ever changing. And you know I and I know, like, as a user, like, you got to be on the platform yourself. You can't just post and dip. Like, you have to engage, you have to comment, you have to be on other people's shit too. So, a lot of my friends, like, I see their shit. It's a mercy. Like, I fucking heart go, scroll heart. Like, I have this habit. I'll open the app and just fucking rapid fire like every fucking thing, and hopefully the algorithm doesn't catch me. But it's like you have to be a user on it. Like
Yeah.
it's like this AI kind of rabbit hole where it wants like your attention, and it's all consuming, and it definitely can be. Like I probably wouldn't be on it if it wasn't for the business. But I don't feel like I have this huge following. I think, again, it's the frustrating part of the reality of editing and social media and AI and where we're at as a society with technology, is that there's some really shitty dog trainers out there with massive, massive followings. And, of course, whoever's watching this, if you buy followers, you are a bitch. You are a insecure, attention whore, narcissist bitch if you are buying followers, right? And it's easy to figure that shit out. Like, if the engagement doesn't match like you got 100,000 followers and you're getting 20 likes, like something's up, bro. And then you check out the followers, there's like no profile picture. Like, I got you, I figured you out. So, but there's part of that. But the part of it is like good editing. Like, it's very, very frustrating to see like really shitty dog training get so much attention. And it's very easy to trick the untrained eye with social media, with good editing, good flash, good appearance, and it's weird. You never know what's going to catch. You never know. Like, I'll post some dumb shit like, oh, this is just some fucking filler shit. I got to just fill the void right now. I got too much shit to do. Let me just post this. And before you know it, it's fucking viral. Like, how did that? You never really know where you stand with it. It's like this fucking mystery. Like, you never quite know. Like, and then there's your shit you post. It's like, man, this is it, bro. This is
Yeah.
fucking solid content. People are gonna love this shit. You wake up and it's like it's nobody gives a fuck.
I think that you had some really good advice there, though, of inspecting things, doing a bit of research. So just yesterday, like I post my podcast on YouTube, and I'm just like barely have time to edit and put it up, but I definitely want to make more time. And I saw this one dude, and he was like, "I can help you like grow on YouTube." And I sent it over to Adam Katz, who you know as well, and
Love that. Love that.
super smart and kind and helpful fellow. And right away, he's like, "Why are you sending me this guy? Like, he's got like 15 subscribers." And I was like, "Oh, I had no idea. Like his video was good, and
Yep.
but you got to inspect because it didn't line up. And I saw the other day this guy. He was like, "I teach dog trainers. I help them run ads. Blah blah blah. I've got the most successful dog training business. I'm 21 years old. I've done this." And then I was like, "Oh, I should look him up." And he had like no mutual friends, which is kind of hard because I have like a lot of people, that are dog trainers and nothing. And like literally 15 followers. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this doesn't line up to what you said in that sales pitch.
Yep.
Good
Very, very
advice.
scammy. I would say the vast majority of the shit out there is scammy. Like there's very like legit, authentic shit out there. That's, I just went through with a Facebook marketing company, man, like fucking total frauds. Like I did a live with Jonas Black about it. And like they get on, they give you this big sales pitch. And, I had been up and down with Facebook ads before. I probably had about 4 or 5 different attempts with Facebook ads, all flops, all shit leads, tire kickers, garbage. This company, I had another buddy that I met that was killing it with this company, showed me the results. I'm like, all right, this is my last hurrah. Get on with this company, pay him a shit ton of money. And the first lead was $150 click for a fucking fake bot. Like, it was a DM ad campaign. Like, hey, you put on this little mini bullshit spiel, like say pack in my DMs, and I'll send you this information. So it was it was Instagram. So you could click on the profile. It was a fake ass fucking bot that they charged me $150 for. And it was about $350 total of fake ass bot clicks. So I said, I cut them off immediately. Like, get my fucking money back. Contact Instagram, Facebook. This is fake ass shit. Get my fucking money back. And you're going to give me my money back too. And they did. So it's just a nightmare, man. And with Facebook, I can't understand why they can't get this shit right. It's not just me. Trust me. I'm an idiot. I'm a tech jinx. But like on cloud, like I love on cloud boots. Like they fall apart. They've gotten better, but they're my favorite fucking boots. So my wife, like probably a month ago, was saying, "Hey, your shoes are getting banged up. You want me to order you another pair of on clouds?" And we had a little conversation. Well, guess what happens 30 seconds later on my feed?
Mm-hmm.
Beep, on cloud ads. Why the fuck can somebody be screaming at their fucking dog for shitting in the house or jumping on guests, and then my fucking canine services ad pops up on their phone? Like, we know these phones are listening to us. We
Mm-hmm.
know they're eavesdropping on our conversations to sell us shit. Why the fuck is there not a company that can do that with dog training? Why?
Yeah.
Because every other Facebook marketing is a fucking tire kicker scam. Like, I can't figure it out for the life of me.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that Big Brother stuff, like our software too. I say it to people all the time. Like, see, we can see exactly how the lead came in, which makes sense. We can see what pages they were on your website, how long they spent there. We can see they clicked here and they spent 8 minutes here before they did this. And it is kind of creepy, but it's also advantageous for us business
Sure.
owners. So yeah, I had a few like kind of off the wall questions that may not be totally related to dog training, if that's okay, kind of a lightning round.
Yeah.
You mentioned your brother. Is he like kind of a risk taker, living on the edge, like you seem to be with your life's, you know?
He's always like been the starving artist. Like legit DC Comics was recruiting him as a kid. And he's like, fuck off, I'm not selling out to the man. And like lived in his car for years, like in California kind of shit. So um it's interesting. We're a weird family. We can go years and years without talking and then pick up where we left off. So um there's a he was always into like Dungeons and Dragons as a kid, like role playing games, and kind of his art went in that direction as well. So there was these playing cards called Magic the Gathering. I don't know much about it, but he was under contract for them and doing their art for a while too. So he was under contract with a couple big companies. I remember when I was a cop, I pulled over this kid and he had a bunch of weed in his car and shit. And he had like boxes of his Magic the Gathering cards in his. I'm searching his car. I find all these fucking cards, and I find one of my brother's artwork in the cards.
Wow.
And I showed it to him. I'm like, you know who this is? Like, yeah, that guy's fucking badass. And I go, And I showed him my name on my badge, my name tag. And he's like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, he's an amazing artist. You're an asshole. So, but yeah, he's super, super gifted, but it has that, like, that side of his brain. And sometimes we don't always connect on certain thought processes, man. But no, I would say he's probably more on the conservative side of things, where I wear my emotions on my sleeve. You get what you get, and this is where I'm at. This is who I am, and I don't lie for shit. I don't have to go into any social setting, any environment, and try to fucking put on a face or put on a fucking facade. I know who I am, and I'm cool with that shit. I'm not for everybody, and it's it's pretty fucking funny, like, this block shit and talking shit on social media and just being me is, my wife's very conservative too. She's like, you're going to lose clients by cursing so much. And, we get some very wealthy folks that we deal with, and we'll be doing a go home lesson with like a Fortune 100 fucking billionaire. And before the lesson even starts, they're cracking up about the block shit and the cursing and the fucking nonsense we do on social media. So yeah, there's some folks that are going to be turned off by it. But I think people can appreciate authenticity.
Yeah, I think the people that would be turned off by it, that's fine. But there's going to be more people that, appreciate it, the authenticity, like you said.
Yeah.
One thing you said earlier, and, I think a lot of business owners, we feel a bit guilty about. It's when we are taking time to go to the gym or drive our cars around and we're not working. But those are the times when you get your ideas. And so I think that maybe you could share a little bit on that, of like making time for that so that you can get those ideas, because those are what's going to make you have a very unique life and business.
Well, your mental and physical health is paramount. And
Mm-hmm.
and whatever that looks like for any individual, like, you have to go down that road and be selfish with that. And really, my longest running addiction is the gym. Like, I stepped into a gym when I was 13. You would think I look like Ronnie Coleman by now, who's a massive bodybuilder, but it's been my longest running addiction, and it really is my source of therapy. Like, I'm not checking a box. Like, I need that shit in my life, right? So it just happens to be like that does get creative juices flowing, but there's no such thing as 9 to 5 in this game. Like, there's not. I'm up at 4 in the morning. I'm go to bed at fucking 11 at night, and I sleep like shit. And I'm working, like, as much as I'm breathing and my eyes are open. I'm fucking working because I'm thinking about content, thinking about this client. How do I connect with this dog, this issue? On top of trying to be a husband and a father and all that stuff too. Like, it's a full-time job. So don't do not feel like, unless you're being a lazy fuck, like, unless you're slipping, like, again, I know where I fail. I know the balls that I drop on a continuous basis every fucking day. Um, but I can go down the rabbit hole or go down the avenues of the things that I'm stronger with, but you don't feel that way as long as you're producing and you're meeting your needs. And don't feel guilty about that shit, because you have to have your outlets too. And I do get the other question too, like, what do you do when you're not dogging? Like, the cool thing about what I do is that it's what's the saying, is that if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Like, it's a little bit like that, but trust me, it's a fucking struggle. Like, I'm picking up dog shit all day long. It's not this glorious, like, social media fucking fuckery where we're laughing all day long. Like, I'm dealing with dog shit. I'm dealing with barking fucking dogs, and nurturing clients, and, like, it's a lot of it's nothing glorious, And I'm out there. I live on my lawnmower. I got almost 6 acres to cut. Like, it's a lot of work maintaining everything. So I feel like I work from sun up to sundown. So my little escape, hitting the gym for a couple hours, it's necessary, right, to keep the wheels in motion.
What advice, or what can you say to somebody that like needs motivation on during those hard times, during where you're up against a wall and you feel like crap and you've just got to get to the gym or work your business? Like, what are some motivating things that you do on those days?
We are our own biggest hurdle. Like, for a lot of people, it's fear of failure. Like, I'm a human and shit, but I honestly, I just don't give a fuck. Like, there's no such thing as failing. It's learning opportunities. It's an opportunity for growth. And when we fuck things up and we fail, and I'm professional at fucking things up, like, that's where the greatest learning occurs. Like, that's where, the saying pressure makes diamonds. And then put it out there. Like, if you're scared to make this post, just fucking do it. Just put it out there. Like, and then learn from it. Like, you may never know. Like, even the dumbest little shit I'll put out there. And this is our livelihood, right? We make our living doing this, but like, I suck with money as bad as I do with tech. So I don't do any of this shit for the money. Like, my wife says I got to turn shit up, and I fucking not, bury down and fucking get more business and do what I got to do. And what I'm trying to get at is, like, when you have these opportunities to kind of connect and put things out there, like, just fucking do it, because it's an opportunity for growth. And if people talk shit on social, like, it's crazy, because I travel so much and I go to these conferences, I run into these douchebags who run their mouth on my posts. And guess what happens when we cross paths in the hallway? Like a fucking coward. Like,
Yeah.
so many people are fucking tough guys with a keyboard.
Keyboard warrior.
They talk all kinds of fucking shit on social, but in real world, they cower. Like, so again, and also know that everybody's going through the same struggle. Like, everybody is trying to find their way and put out digestible content. And again, for me, it is about paying it forward. I've put so much shit out there, everything for free for years and years and years. And the latest collaboration I've done with American Standard Canine and DIY Canine is putting out, content that could be paid for, that you can buy. So it's really all new for me. And that's within the last year. But I've always just thrown it out there to see what sticks, because I honestly, I don't give a fuck, man. I'll put something dumb out there and just move the fuck on to the next stupid thing. Like, people have very short-term memories.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent. Like, we see, like, this Cal canine dude that was, I don't know if you remember him, body slamming this young Malinois puppy, like, picked him up over his shoulder, because it was like a 4 or 5 month old puppy wouldn't out a ball, and wham, on film, slams, and the dog fucking yelps, couldn't get up. And of course, the whole world attacked him. Well, guess what? He's back. 50,000 followers, talking shit on people's posts. Like, people, it's like Dory from fucking Nemo. Like, people have very short-term memories. Just don't give a fuck. Like, then I used to go toe-to-toe in the comments. Like, I'd be all ate up. People would talk shit. I'd be firing away. And this is where the blocked shit came from. Is that my wife, who's the most antisocial person in the world, like, she'll, like, someone that's a dog person will try to friend request her that she doesn't know personally. She will not accept the friend request. She'll fucking block them. Like, so this is where it started. She's like, why are you're never going to change these people. Just fucking block them.
Yeah.
And then, like, Nick White came up with the face swap, and Adam Katz had a role in that shit too. And it's morphed into this own fucking thing where I have to admit, like, I should be opening my social media, like, looking to engage in my community and look for DMs for clients. I legit open my shit, go right to notifications, looking for bitches to block. Like, that's my fuel. But
that's right.
I would just say, do you. Like, again, the long roundabout way of getting back to answering your question is just do you. And if you're searching for motivation, like, fuck motivation. Like, if you wait for motivation, it's never going to fucking happen. You just have to fucking be dedicated and execute. Just get out of your own fucking head and put one foot in front of the other and fucking do it. Just stop bullshitting and do it. Good, bad, or indifferent. Fucking move and execute.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just do it.
People don't like that fucking. I mean, don't like it, but I try to do squeaky clean edited shit, but then I just put out some dirty unedited fucking shit, and that's seems to be what the algorithm likes too. Like, just authentic shit.
Real.
So.
All right, few other questions. What type of music do you like? Your favorite music genre?
If I probably, like, I use Spotify, like, I probably have them so fucking confused because I listen to everything. Like, legit, like, I am all in Teddy Swims right now, listening to him, like, on like the meth head in me, like my ADD, like, fucking Teddy on a continuous loop. But then I'll go fucking work out to death metal, and then do fucking cardio to rap, and then drive home, listen to Coldplay to fucking calm the fuck down. Like I'm a bizarre. Like my wife introduced me to country music. Like I never was into it before we met, and all in. Like I would say between Teddy Swims and fuck, I'm drawing a blank. He's from here. He's from Knoxville. Huge fucking artist. Anyway,
Is he
it'll come to
country?
me.
Is it
Yeah.
Luke Luke
No.
Combs? Chris
It's
Stapleton?
I love Chris Stapleton
That's
too,
good.
man. Fuck it, I'm drawing a blank. But he's again, I listen to legit anything. I'll listen to anything.
Do you guys go to Nashville?
We haven't. We're homebodies and stuff. Like we lived such adrenaline dump lives as cops. Um,
Yeah.
it, it's and coming from South Florida, like my wife again, she was a cop forever. She loves watching those crime drama shows like Dateline and 48 Hours and all that other shit. And when you watch these shows, it's always fucking Florida. Like it's like the most bizarre, like murders and crime and police shit is always Florida. Like there's a show on HBO called Florida Man. Like you got to watch that shit. It's like the most dysfunctional shit. It's like everything we saw. So when your life's on this constant fucking roller coaster of adrenaline dumps, like we're not seeking any of that shit. Like my wife raced barrel horses forever, and we're hillbillies and shit. So we'll go to Vegas every now and then for the national finals rodeo, and that's always an amazing event. And
Cool.
we go to the Cowboy Christmas, and it's cool like that. But we don't do that shit, And my wife's like, she's had 7 back surgeries. She had lost hearing in her left ear. She's got chronic nausea, like a lot of health issues. So we don't do shit. We watch our Frenchies fucking wrestle and fart. It's like our form of entertainment. But we're 2.5, 3 hours from Nashville.
Nashville, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and let me think of another question. What's your favorite food? I know it's Dunkin' Donuts, right?
Well, what I got from Dunked is I've been eating carnivore, so when I'm on the road, it's shit sources, but I'll just get egg patties and sausage patties, no bread, no cheese.
Oh,
But
that makes sense. That makes
yeah, I
sense.
love like steak, man. Like I love carnivore diet. I'm on it. My cheat meal, my go-to is pizza.
Oh,
Love
I love
pizza.
pizza, yeah.
Yeah.
And then sports teams, because you were with the Braves. So what's that? What's your favorite baseball team?
I'm a very weird creature. Like once baseball was over, it was fucking over, and I never looked
What?
back. Yeah.
Wow.
When I was in high school, I was fortunate enough to play in the old Yankee Stadium. So growing up, I grew up in Connecticut. Like my father commuted to New York City every day, so I went into New York quite a bit with him. So I was always a Yankees fan growing up. But I couldn't. I think Aaron Judd. I could name one fucking player right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
So it'll sometimes like I'll see it on the treadmill at the gym, and I can always appreciate the athleticism, but especially when all this fucking taking knee for the flag and not fucking fuck that. Like I completely disconnected from it. I didn't give a shit about it before, but I gave a shit about it even less after all that stuff, man. So
Yeah.
but I can always appreciate the athleticism.
Yeah. From Canada. So baseball's a big thing for us and
Yeah,
hockey. So
hockey.
yeah.
Yeah, I played a little hockey growing up. It was
Yeah.
great, very cool sport.
We like hockey too. What's your favorite country?
Oh, this country, United
Yeah.
States.
Right on. Okay. You'd mentioned earlier that you've been to a lot of different countries and stuff, but yeah.
Been to a few. I still would love to go see Holland and parts of Europe. Especially being in dog sports and
Yeah.
loving the Malinois and Dutch Shepherd. I'd love to see the motherland where it all kind of began. And I've had some requests. I had a class set up in the UK that I had to postpone and cancel because I was just burnt from travel. I've had several requests down in Australia, which may happen in 2026. That's on the bucket list. I had Maui PD reach out pretty soon. It's not another country, but that'd be pretty cool to go to Hawaii and train dogs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Dogs have brought me in. I can't imagine where my life would be without them. But to think back about the opportunities and the doors that have opened, and the people that I've met, and the things that I've seen in this world because of dogs, it's absolutely incredible. Who would have
Cool.
thought? Who would have
Yeah.
thought?
Yeah.
Anyway, getting those dogs out of that junkyard back in the day, like who would have ever dreamed that it would have evolved into what it is now? And you know, from the business side of it, it's frustrating. Like Knoxville is an absolutely saturated market for dog trainers, and we talked about that. Like
Yeah.
when I first got up here, it was wide open. I was doing for many, many, many months. I had my hands on 18 dogs a month for board and train, like insane amount. Now we're all scrapping. And somebody sent me a study a couple months ago. Since COVID, there's been a 200% increase in dog trainers nationwide.
Yeah.
It's just been this rapidly growing industry. And with growth, there's growing pains. And we, again, we talked about before, we've seen a lot of fucking shitty training that goes on. And so it is frustrating that way.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of saturation. Well,
Yeah.
that is such an awesome story. If I've never been to Australia, that sounds really cool. I did hear that they have their pizza's very different, so you may have to try that when you go to Australia.
I'll have to do that for sure.
So we're coming to an end here, and I'd love if you could share how people can find you, how people can reach out to you and connect with you.
Cool. So I do, unless I've blocked you, and there's no reconciliation for that. That's a one-way street. Um, I lurk mostly on Instagram. So JRig Canine is my main, most active page, and then of course Canine Services Unlimited on Instagram, and Justin Rigney on Facebook. Canine Service Unlimited on Facebook as well. Two platforms on both there, two pages on those platforms, and then I have a TikTok, which is JRig also. We have a YouTube channel, which I haven't been able to crack that code either. I can barely move the needle on YouTube. And I would say too with this, make sure you bleep out my cursing, because I think that's one of the biggest things with YouTube. I've heard that because Garrett Wing in American Standard has, I think, well over 2 million followers on YouTube. And when we do shit together, like I got to tone it down, or he's got to make sure he bleeps out the cursing, because they'll fucking push it way down. Oh, there I go again. I have Tourette's, bro. I have Tourette's. I can give you a doctor's note. I swear.
Too funny. And then your website, canineservicesunlimited.com, and it's K9, like the letter K and the number 9, if people want to check out your pet dog training in Knoxville. And maybe one day you'll, have a facility where people can come to you and see seminars there.
Yeah, it's possible. I have some really amazing things that are kind of in the works with some negotiations, which may go one way, or we may just keep it small. Like again, it's in God's hands. I'm very big on manifestation, and I put it out there to my thoughts and ideas. And if it's God's way, he'll show us that path. But it's again, it's, you love what you do, it's not work, right? So sometimes it is work.
Yeah, sometimes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Justin, and thank you everybody for listening. Again, I'm Leanne Shinton from Automation Dogs. I used to be Pet Biz Experts. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Justin, for joining me.
Thank you, Leanne.